Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net and it is Monday the 20th of January. Thanks again for watching. I hope you had a good weekend. Reminder that the sites get free of charge by you coming back and using it regularly. It just means we can put more adverts in front of you, and it's that generates the revenue that keeps the site free of charge. Okay, first up for you today, the models are all in fair agreement that there's no real signs of deep winter on the way over the next few days. Let me just show you. This is the GFS ensemble and it goes forward in 12-hour steps. Just going to run through this because there is something that we want to have a look at on here. Just go forward a couple of days to the 24th look. So this is Thursday into Friday. This little area of low pressure causing a little bit of concern as to exactly what happens to that. Let's just pick up on the UK pressure charts. Just watch this. The dates are there, top right hand corner, and as we go on, you'll notice here, look, that we stay in this slack pressure flow, which gives us the fog through tomorrow morning as it did through this morning. And then we pick up fronts coming in for the west, look, bringing in periods of rain. Now watch this low up towards the northwest here. There we are. Watch what happens to that. This is the 22nd, so this is Wednesday. Now, notice how, look, that low stays there as the parent feature here. But a secondary low develops coming off that feature and tracking southeast. So this is the same system that the GFS ensemble is seeing here. So we've got good agreement. You would expect that between the GFS and the ensemble. They're based on the same modelling, but you know, it looks like that low is trying to get in there. Then as we run it forward, the low clears away into the continent. As it does so, though, it's bringing in this cold northeast and northerly wind. So what it might do is, I think, during Thursday, bring a wet day across western parts of the country, a cold one as well, sleet and snow over the hills, and it could just turn to a little bit of wet sleet even at low levels as it clears away southwards overnight into Friday. Now, as it does so, as it does clear away southwards into Friday, what it might do is slacken off the flow and allow temperatures to fall again quite sharply Friday morning, leading to quite an icy one across eastern and southern areas. That's ahead of these systems coming in from the west. So, if we just pick up the GFS ensemble again, look, take it through. Look, here's a cut-off trough going into Europe. It's this thing I've been talking to you about for several days now. Really what we need is one of these to be up here if we want any cold weather at all for that northeasterly flow to establish. But this pattern's established as a west to west northwesterly, which keeps us cooler through this week. Notice how it goes back into the west, look, through next week. And then as we head in towards Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, look, we've got this another trough that comes eastwards. Now, this feeds again this low in the Mediterranean, and it tries to get more of an easterly coming northwards, but the GFS ensemble is saying no way, it's just going to be staying as a west to west northwesterly. We're going to be staying with this cool feed. There'll be fronts going through at times right the way into the early part of February, and it'll stay cool overall. However, not everyone agrees. This is the Canadian operational from the from 24th of January, well, 4th 24th of January. So again, we're on to Friday morning here. Look, there's our low. So if we just knock it back 12 hours, here's the low coming in. Look, on that trough. Watch what happens. So the trough gets cut off, and the low develops across inland parts of Europe. Then it clears off to the south, and then we pick up this west to west northwest flow. But just look what happens. The Canadian again then tries to bring in the next low into the early part of next week, and what happens there is that that low sinks south, and the Canadian tries to make much more of this one. Look, it gets it further north. As I've just said, we want the low to be further north if we want any winter at all, and it pulls in this easterly to east-northeasterly flow, and it's that causes the problems there in terms of how cool it potentially becomes. So we get that northeasterly flow. That's one that we've got to watch for during the early part of next week. So there are signs there, and it keeps coming back, doesn't it, and having a little bit of a bite at us. The idea that winter could be there. Looking at the 7 to 10 day means from the ECMWF and the GFS. ECMWF is on the left here, GFS on the right, and you notice very similar. Look, got jet stream coming in across the Atlantic during this period, which is from next Monday through to Thursday the 30th. So there we go. There's the jet coming across the Atlantic. Look on both. GFS makes more of the ridge building in the Atlantic wants to put things back more into a north and northwesterly, but it's still a cool and rather unsettled flow. I think what's important is that it tries to decrease these heights notably across those central and northern parts of Europe, and that kind of ties in a little bit with the ideas that the Canadian was trying to show. No indications as of yet on the CFS. Week 1, you have to turn your head for this one. UK is underneath here. Look, there's the trough, okay, down through the UK. So that's basically what we've got now. Here's week 2, look. It's trying to bring the idea of these lower than normal heights over and west of the UK, keeps us in the cool north to northwesterly flow through that period. And then into week 3, well, week 3 is interesting because we get this complete, almost, look, 2/3 circle effect of above normal heights. This is normally an indicator of colder weather in the UK. It shows, look, the jet trying to get south of the UK. And if this happened, this would be a west to west northwest flow, but the fronts coming in would probably start as rain out in the west, but turn to more wintry as precipitation got east. So this period, the 3rd to the 9th, is potentially quite an interesting one. And then the 10th to the 16th, we get our low out towards the west. We get more of a south to southwesterly flow coming back in, high up towards the north, look. So we're picking up more of a southerly flow, but we're back to milder conditions during that middle part of the month. So for me, it's this period of the 3rd to the 9th that needs to be watched carefully. And as we've just seen, that period around the 27th and the 28th of January is one that we need to watch too. Okay, so I'll leave you with that for now, but just wanted to bring you up to date on where things are going. And there are still these hints of winter being there, aren't there? You know, it's kind of just, we know it's behind the door. It just doesn't want to come in. I must admit, as far as I'm concerned, it can stay away. But I know many of you looking for snow. I know many farmers amongst you want a few days of cold weather just to kill off some pests, and I know many of you with businesses that rely on some cold weather as well are looking for it too in terms of ice and snow. So we're keeping our eye on it for you. I'll update you, of course, over the coming days. But for now, whatever you're doing, thanks for watching and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.